Welcome to the Sports Bros Podcast, featuring the almighty B-Live, the money man Scotty D, and your host, the head of creative Eddie Cool. The Sports Bros Podcast, by the fan, for the fan, talking sports just the way you like it. And without any further ado, let's give it up for the Sports Bros. This is not a repeat of last week. My voice still sounds the same. I don't know what's going on. Your boy's back on his vitamins, but nevertheless, your favorite sports podcast is back. The Sports Bros Podcast. I go by the name of the HOC, Eddie Cool, a.k.a. Eddie Under the Weather. It's raining outside, but as me and Scott Donnelly said, because we live in the same region of the country, at least it ain't snowing, and at least it's warm. But yeah, we better not get too happy because the forecast can change in a blink of an eye. With that being said, y'all know I can't do this by myself. I could talk and talk and talk. I don't find myself that entertaining, and neither do you, even though some folks say otherwise, but what do I know, right? I have two of the best coaches in the world. Introducing first, the almighty B-Live.
What's happening? What's going on
in the world today?
I don't like you at all. Why do you constantly pester me in such a way, Scotty D? Oh my goodness. Speaking of the weather, it got cold down here in the south as well, and I didn't like it. See what had happened was that I ended up DJing the city of Fayetteville's Rotary Christmas parade this past Saturday, and I guarantee you my knees froze into place. Like they just would not move. So I'm doing the oh yeah, my knee just popped just now. I'm defrosting. But man, oh man, this parade was over 3 hours. What are y'all, Macy's? It was a long parade. I was on my feet out in the cold for a long time. But one of the people that stayed downtown gave me some hot chocolate. So that hot chocolate was crucial. Thank you to whoever you were. I appreciate it. I digress. Woo. We're getting into the thick of things in the NFL, aren't we? Oh my goodness, this is the time of year when football is so prevalent. I love it. I want some more of it. Can't wait to talk about it.
Unless you're a sports bro, in which case your teams play one another and it means nothing.
Pretty much, and it was horrible to watch. I mean, it is what it is. Go ahead and introduce the other guy so he can gloat a little bit about his team beating our team. Whatever.
Yeah, I can't even get mad anymore. He is the other guy. He is the pride of Washington, Pennsylvania. Real festive with his Penguins Santa hat on. For you viewers, you should be watching. He is the one, the only, the money man, Scotty D.
I'm dreaming of a white privilege. Just I don't know where that came from. I don't. Just kind of fit. I didn't.
It does not fit at all. Not on.
What just happened?
Don't ask questions. So let him continue to go on.
I just improvised. I just came off the top of my head. Anyway.
Oh God.
Anyway, as we all three don our black shirts today, are we all three dawn in the dark? I guess because of the Sunday game between the Panthers and Cowboys, it's like a funeral procession for both of our teams. Because sadly, anytime Mike McCarthy wins now, it increases his chances of coming back.
Damn.
And Rico Dowdle is starting to look like a good running back, which means that the Cowboys aren't going to be as pressed to take a running back in the draft. And it's just not good. But I actually, no lie, I thought Carolina was going to win that game. I thought coming in, the Cowboys were down and out after losing that game to the Bengals on Monday night. And the Panthers played a couple really good teams, really tough, really close. And I thought, well, this is your classic team that's getting hot with nothing to lose, going against Cooper Rush, and just wasn't a very pleasing game to watch. There were some good ones late though, were there not? a
Oh
couple
yeah,
dandies in the
Yeah.
afternoon. Let's talk about that, Equal. Let's go out on the top of the order here.
Yeah, that window was good. With that being said, let's go ahead and hop right into it. The top of the order. All right, let's get this thing started. Here it is, the top of the order. All right, as the Money Man Scotty D mentioned, the back half of Week 15 gave us some great games, gave us some real excellent games. Let's look at them real quick. We are talking about the Bills and the Lions, the Steelers and the Eagles, and the Packers and the Seahawks. And looking at these scores, looking at these games, I had a chance to catch bits and pieces of some of the games. But the question I have, fellas, let's talk about the Bills. Let's talk about the Eagles. Despite whatever they got going on, because you got the Eagles last week, that's what the problem was. AJ Brown said passing. This week they fixed the passing. Somehow, some way, they still arguing on the sidelines. I don't know. That's what families do. And then the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen is showing us this is the Josh Allen he's being, and a potential MVP candidate. With that being said, Bills, Eagles. Is that a preview of the Super Bowl?
Hmm. Hmm.
Mm.
It very well could be. I feel like I'm afraid to commit to writing off the Chiefs because if you guys remember last year around mid to late October, I said this is the year to get them because they were struggling last year. And I think they lost like 5 games in the regular season last year. And this year, they're not losing those close games, but they're playing a bunch of close games that a player or two here or there, and they could have another 5 losses. But I just feel like they have the ability to flip that switch. Having said that, Mahomes is hurt. Is it just me? It always seemed like Mahomes has something like a foot injury, ankle injury, leg injury. Does it seem like it's always something like a lower extremity injury with Mahomes? I even remember in the Super Bowl against the Buccaneers a few years back, he was hobbling around. It just seems like there's always something going on with him and his feet. Him and Mahomes and them feats of his. That having said that, he got a few weeks before postseason begins to get that right. So I'm not too worried about that. What worries me the most is the Lions, who seem to be the dominant team now, their roster is starting to erode a little bit. They lost, what was it, 3 defensive starters on Sunday? Mm-hmm. Did I hear that right? 3 starters, having already lost Aiden Hutchinson earlier in the year. And then they lost David Montgomery, who was part of that excellent 1-2 backfield punch with Jahmyr Gibbs.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lions are playing well, and they've had that like next man up mentality, and there's a lot of depth. So you think they can overcome it, but I mean, depth a lot of time is why you were so good, because you do have the ability to keep going when major players get hurt. And when you see this starting to chip away, and you can't help but be a lesser team to lose that many guys on defense. And I still don't trust Campbell to not make a boneheaded coaching decision, which I don't know if that was considered one on Sunday, going for the onside kick with like 11 minutes to go in the game, or was he just thinking my defense is so banged up, maybe my best chance is to try to get the ball back right now? I don't know. That seems sometimes it seems like he coaches with his heart more than his head, and that can be important in the postseason. And the Eagles seem like they're peaking. They beat a really good Steelers team on Sunday, so I would say that is right now the most likely Super Bowl matchup, Bills and Eagles. B-Live, what do you think?
Well, with that loss to the Bills, the Lions are now tied with the Eagles and also potentially the Vikings for that number 1 spot. The Vikings face the Bears tonight, which should be a W for the Vikings. So there's a three-way tie for that first round bye, and that is a very, very, very important first round bye, especially for a team like the Lions that are hurting in so many places. And so, and also the home field advantage. There's so much on the line. The Vikings. The Vikings.
You liked them better than either of those two teams?
Here's the thing. This one thing I'm looking at right now is the last 3 games of the season or 4 games for the Vikings. The Vikings after this, they have the Seahawks, the Packers, and the Lions. That's tough. The Lions, they have the Bears, 49ers, the Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
That week 18 matchup between the Lions and the Vikings could be everything, but it also could be nothing because the Eagles have the Commander, no name football team Piglet, Redskins, the Cowboys, and the Giants. They have a much easier path.
Yeah,
They're,
but that could still, even so, that would still be the difference between a home game or being on the road as a wild card. So that game is going to have meaning,
right.
pretty unless something crazy happens between now and then. But that game could have a lot on the line, even if it's not the number one seed. The division,
Two versus
yeah,
number 2 seed home game or 5 seed traveling to whoever decides to win the NFC South because they're the number 4. They're going to be
most likely.
most likely 8-6 is leading the division right now. Seahawks are 9-5 leading the NFC West. So there could be some implications there, but really the big talk of the town though is the Buffalo Bills.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Allen is playing otherworldly possession. Like
He's the
I,
MVP, right?
I'm leaning towards him at this point. As much as I was looking at Saquon Barkley, I really just think Josh Allen is just otherworldly at this point. Saquon Barkley has put up the numbers, and he is the difference between the Eagles last year and this year. And
Big difference. Big difference.
big difference having him. So I mean, that's what literally the MVP, most valuable player. That's what it is. But it's a quarterback driven league, and Josh Allen is doing exactly what needs to be done to win the MVP.
If you're
Jared
Buffalo, though,
Goff,
you gotta hope you're not peaking too soon. Like this, I hope this isn't the pinnacle of their season for their sake. And I surely hope that injury bug doesn't bite Buffalo, particularly at quarterback. Because
right? Yeah,
if Josh Allen goes down, it's over for Buffalo. It's over. I don't even know who their
yeah,
backup is. Don't even know. Doesn't matter.
yeah. Patrick Mahomes is hurt,
Yeah.
and so I don't know how much. Of course, he's going to play the next game, just knowing him. But how much is he hobbled? And they're still, at the end of the day, they still have the best record in the NFL. But I think they are historically the worst 13-1 team we've ever seen.
They
They
have
just
they have a cushion though, right? I mean, they can lose a game and still have that top seed, right? Buffalo's next with 3 losses, if I'm not mistaken.
now Buffalo's 12. Buffalo's
They lost to the
it,
Rams last week. I think that was their 3rd loss. But
yes, yeah. You're right. You're right. They are 11-3. So yes, the Chiefs have a 2-game cushion. So they can afford to lose one and sit back and get a little rest and everything. But that we're not coaches. What does Andy Reid do at this point in time? I mean, let's see what they got
I know what
going
Andy
on.
Reid does at this point in time. He heads
What
to the
what
buffet. He heads to the buffet.
Oh boy, here we go.
unnecessary.
Highly.
Just highly unnecessary.
That's highly unnecessary, sir. You should be doing that at a town hall meeting. Point of order. Shout out to Eric Mays, man. Yeah,
Oh man.
I'm thinking that that could be a possible Super Bowl preview because you're looking at NFC. The Niners are done. They got people quitting the team in the middle of the 3rd quarter. Um, the Lions, they're going through the injury woes. The Vikings,
Cowboys are in the hunt.
Are they
In the hunt. They're in the hunt.
mathematically, right?
Mathematically they're in the hunt.
They're in the hunt.
Yeah, but yeah, they're Elmer Fudd. They're in the woods and they're waiting on that wascally wabbit. But that wascally wabbit might take the gun and shoot them in the butt. And on the AFC side of things, man, Josh Allen is playing otherworldly. I'm like, okay, this is the Josh Allen that the Browns should have got that year. But this is the Josh Allen that we've all wanted to see. Instead of turnover prone, throwing bad interceptions, fumbling the ball in the red zone, so forth and so such. And Kansas City, man, they haven't been that explosive, but they always find a way to win.
Well, right now, Patrick Mahomes has a high ankle sprain, and if I was the Kansas City Chiefs, I'd let him rest for a game
Yeah.
because they not only they have that Christmas Day gauntlet where they're playing 3 games in 11 days,
Oh
and
God.
that so I don't know though because if you give a team an inch, hey, Buffalo doesn't look like they're going to lose another.
Mm-mm.
And they have the tiebreaker against the Chiefs. Chiefs are up 2 games, but technically they're really only up 1 game because if they tie, Buffalo gets the number 1 seed. It's we're
Buffalo better start
all
stopping somebody though.
true.
Yeah.
They put up a lot of points the last 2 weeks, but they have welcomed some visitors into the end zone as well.
And see that's the one thing I want to point out when it comes both Buffalo and Detroit love to give up points. They can outscore anybody, but that does not equate to good playoff football because the playoffs it's just a different breed.
Mm-hmm.
Football, the game gets a lot slower in the playoff. It's colder. I mean, Buffalo can handle it. Detroit can handle it being colder, but the game will slow down.
And with that being said, let's welcome the Rams to the party.
I'm
They're
shoot.
playing
I,
good defense, and
They are.
they are healthy as they've been. They can run the ball, and that's very important in the playoffs, especially if they have to go on the road into a cold weather type situation. They can run the ball.
Matter of fact,
That's really important.
matter of fact, which one of us said don't count the Rams out quite yet? Was it all of us or two of us or
well, I picked the Rams to win the division
division? You
from
did.
Jump Street,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so it's one of those things, man. At the end of the day, that's why I don't. That's why I like Minnesota might surprise some people
Mm-hmm.
because they are playing defense at a high level, and so Minnesota has the fourth ranked scoring defense, where the Eagles are third, and so at the end of the day, defense wins championships. So
Yeah.
Philly, Minnesota, hey, Detroit, come on. This is crunch time. This is a time where the defense needs to step up, and these injuries are starting to pile up. And so, as much as we want to wish a team to the Super Bowl, we shall see.
Yeah. We shall see. Oh, Scotty D done went and got reinforcements. He didn't got that doggone bat boy. He got that
Well,
bat.
I had a stink bug show up, and I
Dude,
had to end it for him.
Another one?
It's the weather has warmed up enough where they have come out of hiding and try to get in the house. So
Yeah.
that's the end. That's the end of that one.
Only for it to freeze next week.
mhm.
And then what they're going to back? Oh, it's time to go away. Time to come back.
How do they
Yep.
survive? How did stink bugs survive it? It's
That
3 degrees on Friday. How are they still alive?
that's interesting. Like, how do you? I don't know. Maybe they just go somewhere and burrow, and then once the heat hit them, ha! Surprise! I'm alive. But
They must have like a cabin or something that they get together and watch sports or something whenever it's
they
freezing.
must they must be. Yep. So
All right, this portion of the show has been brought to you by Amtrak. All right, so
Amtrak. Yeah, I'm going to Amtrak this thing right now. But
I say, what the heck are y'all talking about?
stink stink bugs up north, man. Things I saw a bee, Scotty D, a few days ago, and it was super cold.
No, sir,
No,
Amtrak.
but I'm
A
getting back on it.
bee.
Yes, a whole bee. But I'm getting back on it. I'm getting back on it. So the NFL is looking very good. It's looking very good, very good. We're starting to see everything starting to round into form now because we got like what 3 games left. Damn, we got 3 games
May
left.
your days be merry and bright.
Right. Yeah, we got like a handful of games left, so let's make the most of it. All right. With that being said, let's go ahead and hop into college football. The B Live top five? No, it's not the B Live top five. We don't need top five no more. People are where they are, and it's going to be what's going to be. And we have bowl games and things of that nature. Travis Hunter of Colorado won the Heisman Trophy. Fellas, what are your thoughts on this? Do we feel that Ashton Genty got screwed? Did the right man win it? What say y'all?
Let me let me see if I can break it down the best way possible. I think of the Heisman Trophy the same way I think of the NFL MVP, most valuable player. If you took Travis Hunter off of Colorado, would they still be the same team? If you took Ashton Genty off of Boise State, would they be the same team? I think Ashton Genty means more to Boise State than Travis Hunter does to Colorado. Now, granted, volume. There was a purpose to be made this year by what Deion Sanders was doing with Travis Hunter. And the fact that Travis Hunter played on such a high level on both sides of the ball, and then was awarded as such by getting the was it the Boletnikov is the top wide receiver, and the Bednard Award is the top defensive player. Both of those awards went to Travis Hunter. So, top wide receiver, top defensive player, 2 for 1. I think that Genty would win the Heisman in almost any other year that the has been out there. Maybe short of your Barry Sanders or a couple of just otherworldly like what was it, Joe Burrow, 2019, that was just ridiculous. I feel like he just literally ran into something that we might not ever see in college football. Somebody to play on both sides of the ball at this level. I think that just has to be rewarded. Some people have come up with the argument that, oh, he hasn't been that impressive on both sides of the ball. He won awards on both sides of the ball. So at the end of the day, even though Ashton Genty means more to Boise State, I think Travis Hunter just means more to college football, period. And it has been awarded the Heisman for that said work. But is very divisive. It was a very close Heisman race, but I think the right person got there. Scotty D, what say you?
I didn't see Genty play other than highlights, and I barely saw Travis Hunter play other than highlights. I didn't watch a lot of either of those guys because a lot of their games are on Saturday nights, and I watch a lot of UFC. I like the UFC. I watch that a lot. So I didn't see a ton of them sitting and actually watch them. I think what you have to ask is, would Travis Hunter have won the Heisman if he was only a wide receiver, or would he have won it if he was only a defensive back? And probably the answer would have been no.
No.
But the impact he had on his team was he helped them to their best season in what it was like 30 years or whatever it was, since weren't they like co-national champions in 94 or something like that, and Rashawn Salaam won the Heisman that year, whatever it was. Anyway, yeah, I mean, so I can't really argue with that. It's a tough break. If it would have gone the other way, I would have probably said, yeah, that kid deserves it too. I mean, I don't think, but because of how unique he was, and because he wasn't just an okay player on one side of the ball and good on the other side, he was great pretty much on both sides of the ball. I don't know if he was Heisman worthy, if it was one or the other, but he was great on both sides. So I think it's fantastic that kid won the award. I mean, no argument for me. I guess I don't care.
And that's okay to
It's
admit
not
it. That's okay
necessarily.
to admit it. I mean,
Yeah, the thing about it is, it's not necessarily that you don't care. I can tell you care. It's just
Yeah,
it's one of those things where all we got to see was highlights and stats. I mean, at the end of the day, like here's like you don't throw the Travis Hunter's area of the field. You don't do that, and you better get your weight up if you see Asher Gentry coming downhill, and you just happen to be a 5'11", 180 pound cornerback. He gonna run you over. The dude is going. He's going to take it to the next level. I think Gentry. Both of them are going to go first round. I
yeah.
think they both have great careers.
They're probably both top 5, no worse than top 10, and we know Genty's going to go in and try to electrify an offense. But what do you do with Travis Hunter? What do you do with him if you pick him? Are you going to try to make him a receiver? Are you going to plug him in his defense? You can't really do both in the NFL, I don't think.
Oh,
I
yeah,
mean,
right.
no, he's gonna have to make a choice
Well,
because
the thing about it is,
go ahead.
we've seen it before, though. I mean, we've seen Dion did it.
Mhm.
I
yeah,
mean, for a
that
few
was 30
select
years ago also. I mean, and
a few
Dion
select
wasn't
plays.
and Dion was an okay receiver. He didn't excel because he was a natural cornerback. I mean, he came in as a cornerback and he was just so electric when he got his hand on the ball, whether it was picking it off, returning a punt, returning a kick, whatever it was. He was electric. And so the team started wanting to get him the ball. I don't remember if he caught passes with the 49ers, but he did with the Cowboys. Maybe he did with the Falcons. I can't remember. But with the Cowboys, he actually was regularly used in offense for a couple of years. Then he went back to just playing defense towards the end. But what is Travis Hunter's natural position? Is he more natural one or the other? I mean, what do you do with him? And if you're drafting for need, are you saying you have to reach out to him first and say, what do you want to do? How do you want? I mean, this is confusing. This is going to be interesting to see how this shakes out with this kid.
I think a team, excuse me, I think a team that drafts him, they have to look at their immediate needs. What do we need most? Do we need
Well, that I guess that's what the interviews are for.
yeah. Do we need do we
Yeah.
need a cornerback or do we need a wide receiver? Because I'm saying anything is possible in the words of Kevin Garnett, but in the
But
NFL,
has he said? Do we know? Has he said I want to do both at the pro? I mean, pro level. I haven't heard. I'm sure he's been asked that. I mean, and I didn't see the Heisman Trophy presentation on Saturday. I think I might have been watching UFC, but
it is what it is, man.
But I mean, is that surely somebody has posed that question to him at some point? I just don't know the answer at that point because I'm just a regular sports Joe and not an insider. So
Right.
there you go with that.
it is what it is. It'll definitely be interesting to see like what he does. I think he's going to excel either way, man. I mean, it's pretty power. It speaks a lot from a guy that was originally committed to Florida State. Deion Sanders said, "Hey, I'm at Jackson State. Come help me build this thing." They stayed there for a little bit. Then they went to Colorado, got more notoriety, and now he's here. And so it's gonna be interesting to see because the combine is like what 2 months away.
March,
February is it?
February, March, maybe. Yeah, it might be February.
Yeah. The combine is a few months away, so I mean it'll be very, very interesting to see. With that being said, looking at my phone because I have yet to get a watch, fellas. Guess what time it is?
What time is it? What time is
I don't know what the hell wrong with y'all. Oh, I'm glad you asked. It's time once again
it?
for our favorite portion of the show, the choices of the voices. And with that being said, hey button, hit it. Choices of the voices coming at you after this.
I was reading. My bad.
I mean,
I, was trying, I
damn,
googled
damn near 300 episodes, and all of a sudden, y'all done forgot this. Y'all done forgot the gimmick. Like, what's going on? Stay tuned, everybody. Choice of the voice coming at you right here on the Sports Bros Podcast.
And now, our favorite part of the show, the choices of the voices.
Once again, thank you to the wonderful
Ever
and
so lovely Miss Button for introducing our favorite portion of the show.
the choices of the voices, where we ask you a question, you give us the answer. We talk about it right here on the choices of the voices. Scotty D, this is a good one. What we got?
Well, I listed online 25 former NFL players, modern era players that are going to be up for Hall of Fame induction. They're going to narrow that list, I believe, to 15 here in a couple weeks, and then it'll go down to, I think, 5 that goes into the Hall of Fame. I think they announced that on Super Bowl weekend, if I'm not mistaken. Man, that's always really cool too. If you ever watch the videos of that, the big boy from the Hall of Fame, he goes and knocks on
Yeah,
the
yeah.
doors. He done that, and then the last few years they started having former Hall of Fame players, or I guess former players that are Hall of Famers, would actually go to the door and do the knocking and the break the news himself. That's some cool stuff. Anyway, getting off track, but anyway, yeah. Back to the question we just asked you out of that list of all the players that I put up to give us 5, narrow it down to 5 off that list. And this is hard because I look at that list and I don't know if I see anybody that doesn't deserve it. I mean, some more than others, but it's a hard task. So Eddie, we had a couple people that gave us their 5. What did the people say?
All right, let's go ahead and start with Trey Dizzle. Oh boy, here we go. He said Antonio Gates isn't already in. What? Yeah, I mean this man. He got a point. He said Gates, Reggie Wayne, Hines Ward, Eli Manning, and Steve Smith. He said Tony Romo should be in. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be honest with you. Tony, uh, he might have a pointer. He might have a point.
He didn't win enough postseason games. Romo never gets it.
And that's the thing. He didn't win enough postseason games. And of course, in typical Trey Dizzle fashion, Dak should never get in the Hall of Fame. He probably won't. You gotta worry about that.
He's not winning postseason games either. So
No, no. So to the kind of sort of there's what
the Hall of Very Good.
there's what in the hierarchy of Cowboys quarterbacks: Roger Staubach, Troy Aikman, and then Danny White, and then everybody else. Is that right?
Yeah, Don Meredith was a pretty
Don
good.
Meredith. Yeah.
He was pretty good quarterback, and except Romo was really good, just on a poorly coached couple career of teams for the most part. But anyway, all right. What else we got here?
All right, let's see. Tony Bogan, he said my 5 for Steve Smith Sr. And he got a nerve to put this name behind Steve Smith Sr. Adam freaking Vinatieri, Marshall Yonda, yeah, Antonio Gates, and Eli Manning. Uh, then he said Kuechly, Ward, and James Harrison will eventually get in the following year, but this could go either way. Very tough. Yeah, can't deny that. All right,
So
Brad Tom
two votes right now for Gates and Steve Smith.
and Eli.
Oh yeah, Trey Duke put Eli into
Yeah. Gates, Steve Smith, and Eli. So that's
okay.
all right. And then Brad Thomas said, had he remained healthy, and I agree, Kuechly would have supplanted Ray Lewis as the best to ever do it. So he says Kuechly, Gates, Steve Smith, Darren Woodson, and Eric Allen. A lot of people have forgotten about Eric Allen, but boy, Eric Allen was that dude back in the day as a cornerback. So let's see.
Eric Allen and Darren Woodson both seem to have suffered similar fates, and they were really, really good players in their era. But then every year somebody new comes and pushes them aside, until you get down. And after you've been there for a while, it's like you don't get looked at as seriously, I think. Further it gets from your era.
Yeah, because let's see, if you're talking about cornerbacks and safeties, they played in the era of I'll knock your block off, Steve Atwater.
Early '90s players, early '90s guys.
Yeah, Steve Atwater, and there's a few other DBs and cornerbacks that escape my mind. Dion, um, I'm fogging up at the moment, but yeah, there's good, and there's like, oh damn, these guys too. Yeah, but you can't forget about these guys as well too. And from the looks of it, fellas, that's it. So from the looks of it, what's the tally? We had 2 for Antonio. I'm sorry, 3 for Antonio Gates, 3 for Steve Smith Sr., 1 for Kuechly, Marciano, that's 2. Eli Manning, that's 2, and 1 for the freaking kicker, Adam Vinatieri. And B-Live was like, I don't even want to hear that mess, man. I do not even want to hear it. With that being said, Scotty D, top 5 and who you got? And there's no
I'm
right or wrong answer.
I'm going to put Gates in there too, just
Yeah.
because I think he was such a freak show.
Mm.
So it was so good. Man, the wide receivers that are in this list, Anquan Bolden, Reggie Wayne, Steve Smith, Hines Ward, they're all similar. They all have pretty close numbers. Do you know out of the 4, which has the most receiving yards?
Steve Smith.
Bolden.
Really?
Which is surprising to me. Yeah, because I don't have him ranked as high personally as the other guys. I like Reggie Wayne. I'm putting Reggie Wayne in there. I think he was fantastic. Not that the other guys aren't, but I thought Reggie Wayne was like really picked up where Marvin Harrison left off, and there was no drop off from throughout his career. I'm going to go Vinatieri just because I think he's the greatest kicker ever. He made the big one in the snow. Then he made another big one later that year, that same season in a big game. I don't know. Not many kickers I think belong in the Hall of Fame, but this guy I definitely think he should be. Then longevity. He was there forever. I'm going to go with Fred Taylor. Fred Taylor was quietly a great running back. He's 17th rushing all time. Only 2 people ahead of him are not in the Hall of Fame, and that is Adrian Peterson, who obviously will be, and who was the other one? There was 2 that were ahead of him that are not in the Hall of Fame. And he's ahead rushing. Frank Gore. Those guys are both obviously Hall of Famers. And he's got more rushing yards than Riggins and O.J. Simpson and Earl Campbell. I think Fred Taylor played a quiet game. He wasn't flashy, but he was really good. I'm going to go with former Carolina Panther, Jared Allen. Jared Allen was really good and gets overlooked also. He has similar numbers to Suggs, but Suggs, this is his first year. Allen's been waiting. Jared Allen, 5-time Pro Bowler, 2-time NFL sacks leader. He has the most career safeties. He's tied, but he has 4 safeties on his resume. That's tied for most all time. And he was just a steady player for a lot of years. So I'm going with those guys: Jared Allen, Antonio Gates, Fred Taylor, Reggie Wayne, Adam Vinatieri. B-Live, who you got?
All right, let me go ahead and do what I do. I mean, it is a homer pick, but it isn't a homer pick. Steve Smith Sr. has just been that, like, for like nothing against Anquan Bolden, nothing against like the other wide receivers Steve Smith, just his stature alone, like he wasn't supposed to be that good just because he 5'9", but he took that as a, you know what? I see y'all gonna write me off. Y'all think that I'm not that dude. All right, ice up, son, ice up. So Steve Smith Sr. gets in there. Antonio Gates absolutely gets in there. One of the greatest tight ends of all time. Statistically, way up there. You might as well call the man a wide receiver because that's the numbers that he put up. He revolutionized what a tight end is looked at today. Antonio Gates was one of those originators of like, hey, tight end is just not for blocking. We can get out there and we can get these touchdowns.
Correct me if I'm wrong, B-Lad, but I don't think he played college football, did he? He was a basketball player.
I believe you are correct on that.
Yeah, he went to Kent State right down the road here, and I think he may have just showed up and like, hey, I want to play football.
Yeah, I think like Brock Lesnar, he just tried to get play.
Yeah, ain't that something?
I'm just a tall dude. Teach
Yeah.
me how to catch a ball.
Yeah.
Ta-da. He's getting in the Hall of Fame. That's like without question. Got to give defensive love. Darren Woodson, man. Darren Woodson, I'm putting him in. It's just fearless on that side of the ball. Like he put fear in the offensive players when he came across. Oh yeah, Darren Woodson definitely up there.
You remember his shoulder pads? This joker was huge.
He will lay you out. Reggie Wayne, got to give Reggie Wayne love. I mean, statistically, 1A, 1B when it came to him and Marvin Harrison. Jeez, otherworldly. And I'm with Scott. You got to give the running back some love. Fred Taylor. He's like I said, he's up there. Everybody like statistically like right around there. Put the man in the Hall of Fame. Those are my five: Steve Smith, Antonio Gates, Darren Woodson, Reggie Wayne, Fred Taylor. Eddie Cool, what's your five?
No kicker. To be less.
No, absolutely not. No, no.
He said no kicker.
That's a beautiful thing about where my position as a panelist. I don't have to be objective.
I think they ought to have like a kicker wing where it doesn't count against the five other people going in. Because, it's just a kicker. He's not really playing football, but he's so important. I don't know. Eddie Cool, what you got?
Let's see. First of all, I'm gonna say Fred Taylor. The man needs to be in there. I mean,
It's a sweep for Fred Taylor.
Yeah, he started off his career kind of injury riddled, but man, once he got going, he got going. It's just a shame he was on those bad Jacksonville teams, but you can't count out Fred Taylor. Antonio Gates. Everything y'all said and then some. I mean, the guy, think about it. Like your prototypical tight end now is because of him. I mean, yes, Tony Gonzalez to an extent, but the standard bearer of tight ends is Antonio Gates, and that ain't up for debate. Travis Kelce, nice, but the fact that, like we said, Antonio Gates literally walked on and got a job, you can't deny that. Smitty, Steve Smith. He won an NFL Triple Crown in 2004, led the league in receptions, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns. And he was aggressive. You better ice up, son. He wasn't scared of nobody neither. He played with a chip on his shoulder. Angry as hell. Little known fact, do you know that him and Chad Johnson went to the same junior college?
I did not know that.
I know that.
Yep, they went to the same junior college out there in California. Darren Woodson, not only was his head big, his shoulder pads was big, and he could hit. And he was a pivotal part of all those Cowboys championships. And this one, Torrey Holt.
I'm glad you said that because I was looking at him, thinking he's not getting any love, and
No.
I think a lot of it has to do with how good Isaac Bruce was on the other side of him.
Yeah,
it was like it's almost like they hurt each other.
Yeah,
right. Because that offense was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt, Isaac Hakeem. Madness. It was absolute madness. And then I had an honorable mention. I know you said five, but I had an honorable mention. Josh Cribbs. Josh Cribbs was a hell of a special teams player. And I'm not saying that because everybody in the city of Cleveland somehow, some way seems to remind me that I look like him, or they say that we favor each other. I've seen Josh Cribbs in public last year. I peeked at him. I looked at him. I'm like, yeah, we do look alike. I don't want to hell on about my business. Man, I don't want to be bothered.
I don't see him on my list here.
Is he not on the list?
No.
Oh, my bad.
Where'd you come up with
that? Because it's been like, hey, this man needs to be in the Hall of Fame, and so it's just, so I'm just like I said, just honorable mention. Man, I love my coworkers want to try to swap shifts. Man, I got plans. Anyways, yeah. So Fred Taylor, Antonio Gates, Steve Smith, Darren Woodson, and Torrey Holt. With that being said, Scotty D, thanks to everybody for their participation in this week's Choices of the Voices. What's on tap for next week?
Oh man, I dropped my paper. Okay. All right, here we go. So we're getting into it's not even on that paper. We're getting into the college football playoffs. And I'm going to ask you what you prefer. What do you like best? The college football playoffs, the old school no playoff, just everybody plays a bowl game, or did you like the BCS championship to decide it?
Oh, God.
3 different ways to sort out this college football champion thing that has been going on in my lifetime. When I was growing up through the 80s, everybody played a bowl game, and then the voting would determine the national champion often. Then they try to change it. Just the BCS was going to figure out 1 versus 2. And that seemed to be making some kind the computer. And then it was going to make some kind of progress. And now we have a playoff system. Last year was 4 teams, this year 12 teams. We actually haven't really lived through that yet, but some like the possibilities that it could bring. So what do you like best? Actually, that starts this weekend, correct? This weekend coming, the Friday. So we will already be in the midst of it next Monday when we talk. That'll give us something to talk about next week. Be live and Eddie Cool.
Very interesante. You said something about the BCS, man. I almost had a flashback. I don't know if you saw my face, but I'm like, the BCS. And the B in BCS does not stand for a bowl. Anyways, with that being said, that does it for Choice of the Voices. Coming right up, a round of pepper right here on the Sports Bros podcast. You better grab that pepper grinder, Be Live. We'll be back.
Okay, boys, let's bring it home with a round of pepper.
All right, you heard the woman. It's time for us to go home and get what I call the hell up out of here. But before we go, a round of pepper. You know how we do it, rapid fire style, kind of sort of not really here to engage, enlighten, educate, and entertain. The 4 E's, if you will, in no particular order. With that being said, with my historian loving self, I'll go first. On this day in history, fellas, back in 1983, in his 352nd NHL game, Wayne Gretzky scores a goal and 5 assists in an 8-1 rout of the Quebec Nordiques to record his 800th point and 500th assist. He averaged 2.27 points a game, 1.42 assists, and 0.85 goals per game to start his career.
The great one.
Yeah.
Over to you, Scotty D. Ain't nothing to say. Over to you.
Speaking of great ones, the great Aaron Rodgers was on Pat McAfee last week, and he criticized, and I quote, both non-former players and former players who are trying to stay relevant fame-wise. He went on to say, I'm talking about these experts on TV that nobody remembers what they did in their career. So in order for them to stay relevant, they have to make comments to keep them in the conversation. He said this to Pat McAfee, who was a punter. He's a punter. He said that to Pat McAfee. Then I think he kind of gave the old, oh, but I'm not talking about you kind of thing to him. I mean, well, Ryan Clark did not like that. Ryan Clark had enough of that.
Lit his ass up, I bet.
Ryan Clark called him a fraud and arrogant to a point that it's sickening because Aaron Rodgers is also doing it. He's also on TV commenting. He's a TV commentator, and he's making $1 million a week off of the Pat McAfee show. And that, my friends, is Aaron Rodgers in a nutshell. Be Live, over to you.
Pop, meat, kettle. What's happening, baby?
$1 million a week.
That's what was reported. That he's not going on the McAfee show because they're boys. He's going on there because he's getting a check.
Oh, okay. I knew. I was like, Aaron Rodgers on the Pat McAfee show. What's the motivation behind
Tuesday,
it?
he's stinking up the show every Tuesday.
Yeah. Did not know that was a paid spot. And $1 million a week for how many seconds?
I can't confirm. I'm just telling. That's what I read that was reported. He makes $1 million. No, not a week. I'm sorry, $1 million a year on the McAfee show.
I'm about to say.
Okay.
I didn't mean to say a week. $1 million a year, not a week. Yeah, that would be absurd. That would be absurd.
Like,
even ESPN isn't dulling that kind of $1 million a year.
And they better not be.
I was like, I'm over here like $52 million a
year. No. I'm sorry. $1 million a year. It's still too much. It's too
I don't want to see him on TV, period.
Yes.
All right. My first pepper point.
Change it.
I'm gonna take a page out of Eddie Cool's book. But I have to build it up. You know how I like to do things. This coming Friday is the first game of the college football playoff, the 12-team college football playoff, featuring the Indiana Hoosiers against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Y'all want to take a guess as to the last time Notre Dame has played on Friday?
Does it start with an 18?
You're close. You're very close. November 30th, 1900. That's it.
1900. Wow.
November 30th, 1900, when they downed the Chicago Physicians and Surgeons 5-0.
Who was it?
The Chicago Physicians and Surgeons football.
Wow.
Hey, that's kind of like what was it last week about the St. Mary's
The
College of the Woods?
Woods. Eddie Cool. The ball.
It's a blankety blank in the woods. Anyways, all right. Amtrak and Ed, get it together, all right? Breaking news, but it'll probably be old by the time you hear this. So Sacramento State, according to ESPN, have been in discussions to hire former Pro Bowl quarterback Michael Vick as his new head coach, per Adam Schefter. This is according to ESPN right here. All right. Sacramento State plans to move up to FBS and is building a new stadium and has over $50 million in NIL money. Sacramento State would build an experienced coaching staff around Michael Vick that is in line with the new frontier of college football. Now, Vick has already told the Virginia Pilot that he has spoken with Norfolk State about that job too. Stay home in Virginia or go to California and pay them high-ass taxes. I might want to kind of stay in Virginia. But hey, man, Michael Vick, man, you went from one of the best quarterbacks to the league. You had your downtrodden moment, and now you about to be a head coach. So shout out to Michael Vick. Over to you, Scotty D.
And what was the mascot, team mascot for the team?
The Sacramento State fighting pit bulls.
Fighting
the
pit
Hornets.
bulls. That's what.
The Hornets. Stop. The Hornets. It's canceled.
I've already started us off in a bad note tonight, so yeah.
I've kind of usurped that last week when I said there was what in the woods. But anyway, Scott, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead. Just go ahead.
All right. So we were talking a little bit ago about the Heisman Trophy, the voting, and Travis Hunter got 552 first place votes, which came out to 2,231 points, and Genty got 309 first place votes, which was 2,017 points. A couple other guys, Dylan Gabriel, Cam Ward got some first place votes. Tyler Warren got one first place vote. You know who he is? He's a tight end for Penn State. Somebody, I don't know who it was, gave him a first place vote. He had a total of 52 points. Travis Hunter got 2,231 points. Tyler Warren got 52. And somebody saw fit to give him the Heisman Trophy. How do you miss that bad? Who is this guy? Who's voting for a Penn State tight end in the year of the greatest two-way player we've ever seen and one of the greatest running back performances we've ever seen? Tyler Warren? Be live.
You should not be allowed to have homer picks when it comes to Heisman votes, when it comes to AP poll. So you can't do that.
You missed really bad on that one. You missed real bad.
Whiffed.
Is there whoever voted, is he sitting there thinking, you know what? I think Warren really has a chance here. There's got to be a movement for him, and I'm going to be part of that. Nobody else, that's a wasted vote. Nobody else is voting for Tyler Warren. He's a tight end.
But I have seen some footage on him, and the kid is pretty good. I think
there's no question about it. He's probably the top tight end in the country.
Yeah,
but
he's good. But
don't win the Heisman.
No, we're not doing that. Somebody trying to make a statement.
You got 52. Yeah.
Wasted ass vote. Go ahead.
Oh, my second pepper point. Oh, we live in the land of NIL, players getting paid, and the beloved transfer portal. Gets more and more ridiculous every single day. Welcome. Marshall has declined their bowl bid because over 30 players have entered the transfer portal, and most of them are trying to follow their coach that left for a different program. Let's see.
Charles Huff.
Charles Huff, Coach Huff.
And where he going to?
That's a lot of players.
Southern Miss. Okay. Southern Miss, yes. It said basically the entire Marshall football team is entering the portal. And so Marshall declined the bid to face Army, and Louisiana Tech replaces Marshall in the bowl game. Eddie Cool, the ball.
They didn't have 8 quarterbacks left. All the quarterbacks went to the portal. 3 quarterbacks.
I saw that. So you mean to tell me this upcoming college football season, they literally got to start from the ground, like from scratch?
Yeah. They had a players meeting, and the new coach showed up, and the only person who was in there was the kicker.
Oh God!
I made that up, but anyway, you get the idea.
That sounded good. If I didn't know no better, I bet you know it sounded good. All right, fellas. On this day in history, back in 2022, the Minnesota Vikings recover from a 33-0 lead down at halftime to beat the Colts 39-36 in overtime at US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
I remember that one.
Purple Rain is the biggest comeback in NFL history, which goes to show you no lead is safe. Scotty D, over to you.
Well, I was talking about Aaron Rodgers getting a big chunk of money from ESPN. I over-exaggerated. $1 million a year, not a week.
Okay, 1 year.
But Stephen A. Smith's getting a big one. It is reported that Stephen A. Smith was offered $18 million 5-year contract, but he was looking for more. The New York Post is now reporting that he's nearing a deal, $120 million for 6 years, making him the highest paid TV personality ever in sports broadcasting. His current deal of $8 million a year is not too shabby, runs out next summer. So Stephen A. getting the bag, talking sports like he was actually an athlete. Guys, there's our goal. Let's get to work. Be live. Over to you.
That way Aaron Rodgers can talk subliminal about us. No, I'm joking.
Yeah. Hey, Aaron Rodgers, come at me, bro. Come at me.
I'd be happy with an annual salary of like $50,000. I'd be thrilled with that. Let's talk sports.
Let's talk show.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we're doing this for free.
Yeah. We're gonna fix it.
I live a very simplistic life. 50,000 is perfect. All right. I got another history point for you guys.
Uh-oh.
But it's a history point, but brings into something that's happening right now. Back in 2003, a 16-year-old Usain Bolt ran to 220.13 seconds.
That's fast.
Which is the record for a 16-year-old until now. This young man just ran the 100-meter 10.04, but because there was a tailwind, it doesn't qualify as a record. But the 200 that he ran did not have the tailwind, and he ran it in 20.04 at 16 years old.
That boy running.
Oh, yeah. Broke Usain Bolt's record.
Sheesh.
Running.
Yeah.
Flying.
The only thing about it is that his name does not fit what he does. He's an Australian runner by the name of Gout. I wish.
That's what my dad was calling me back in the summertime when I was at the doctor every day with a sore toe. Gout.
I wish I could make this stuff up. I can't. I promise you. Australian teen sensation Gout went viral last weekend for his lazy fast speed on the track.
That can't be his name. That can't be.
I think I've seen this guy. He can't make that up. B-Live's pretty damn creative, but Gout.
Wow. That can't be right. If your name is Gout, you shouldn't even be able to walk.
No.
Because I've had the gout. You can't walk with it. It hurts.
I remember you say that, Scotty D. It's no joke. Scotty D was like, I can't even put the blanket on my toe. That's how bad it hurts.
Yes.
It's just, how do you name your kid? Is this but it's Australian. Their language is English.
Yeah, Pitt had a player on the basketball team last year named Federico. I don't know where he's at. He transferred out, and there was a basketball player named Bol.
Yeah.
But Bol was from the six of Africa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gout.
I wonder
Boy,
if
fast.
I wonder if he's of Maori descent, the Maori people in Australia. Because I'm trying to think. I'm like,
did you just make that up? Because it sounds like
No,
you know what
no,
sounds like you know what you're talking about.
no, that's no, it's true. Because I'm thinking, I'm like, Gout, is he of Maori descent or is he?
Well, Eddie Cool learning a lot at the old Cheesecake Factory there.
I'm not learning that Cheesecake Factory. There's this girl I follow on Instagram, and anyways, that about does it for another episode.
well, his parents are both from South Sudan,
Okay.
and they moved to Australia. So he was born in Australia, but he is of South Sudanese descent.
Oh, okay. Now that makes sense. Yeah. Now that makes sense.
And the family name was misspelled during translation from Arabic. And so it should be G-U-O-T, but it's G-O-U-T. Gout. There you go. It was misspelled.
Can't spell the word gout with O-W.
Ow. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another action-packed episode of the Sports Bros podcast. We hope you enjoy it. And if you do, let us know what the hell's going on. Rate, review, subscribe, tell your friends, watch the content, listen to us. Hey, we just three guys talking sports. Just the way we like it. You guys got anything to say before we go home and get the hell up out of here?
I'm going to say goodbye to Clyde Edwards-Helaire and goodbye to you guys. I'll see y'all next week.
And I'm going to take my blood pressure because I'm old. Yeah.
And then in closing, do something nice for yourself. And if you can, do something nice for someone else. They're greatly appreciated now more than ever. Be a blessing during the holidays and just be a blessing overall, not a burden. It's been another episode of your favorite sports podcast, the Sports Bros Podcast.
Your days be merry and bright.
Be live, take us home.
Yes, sir.
And may all your Christmas be one. Happy holidays, y'all. Y'all take care. Bye.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Bye. Hey, it's Eddie Cool here from the Sports Bros Podcast. Thank you for listening. And as always, continue to follow us on all of our social media platforms. Just click the link in the description box and keep up with the Sports Bros Podcast. And once again, thanks for listening.